National Scotch Day.
Hello.
Hello, it is Scotch for Dummies, Thursday Night Live.
National Scotch Day.
Is it really?
That's what I hear.
Is there like a theme
No,
song
I will
for that?
ask, how do you have a National Scotch Day? Because it's like not...
We're going to make it international.
Yeah, I think it should be international
I say
Scotch Day.
galactic.
That makes a lot more sense to be International Scotch Day.
Universal.
Yeah.
Intergalactic.
Not
Birthday,
international,
boys.
interplanetary Scotch Day.
Cheers.
If I'm being honest, it's first night of drinking since our get together.
Ditto. Had to dry out the liver for a few days at least.
I put it on the clothesline out there. Started raining today and run out there and grab it.
Surprised it didn't shrivel from all the humidity.
Oh my gosh! Happy Thursday.
Wow. Yeah. So guys, tonight's show, we're gonna get the chat here in a second, but it's just a recap of this crazy ass weekend we just had with our patrons, and holy moly, I'm still like,
Was a whirlwind. We got a lot to talk about and share. A lot of them are in the chat, so I'm sure you'll see a lot of conversation and comments going back and forth about that. So if you weren't here this past weekend, that's what the chat is about.
I'm really glad they all signed the video and audio release.
Oh yeah,
Because there may
they
be some...
took over our channel and went live. I'm not worried about
That's
them
fair point.
signing a release.
Yes. You are not allowed to show my image.
There wasn't a single dummy on that show. I don't know how long they were, 15-minute live or something.
Wait, put that back. Bobby J, sorry you didn't want to be here. I tell you, Bobby J, I shipped your samples. You're going to be glad we were together.
Oh my gosh,
because
Bobby J.
there are bottles in there that
Christmas time's coming.
They're full of unobtainium. You can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
Many of them you can't get anymore. I mean, you
Yeah.
just can't get. So the guys and ladies poured you some great whiskey. So
Yeah.
So we're warming up with a Macallan 12, just the sherry oak, because later on in the show, after we go through our weekend recap, we're going to do a comparison of the classic cuts. We were left from this weekend with one of our...
By this guy?
By this guy right here. What's up, my
Bob H?
friends? By Bob H. He brought the Macallan Classic Cuts from 2017, 18, and 19. And when he packed up to leave, he left them here intentionally, I believe. So we're going to do a comparison to see what the differences is. There is some things to talk about on that. Got one pretty big story to talk about in Scotch for the News.
That's huge, actually.
But so
Yeah,
we've
we
got
definitely hit
stuff
that.
to talk about for the next 50 minutes or so. But let's see who's on, and then we'll dive into talk about what happened this past weekend, if we can remember.
Well, we already saw Jazz and Reel and Crafty Wheel, Bobby J. Jeff Teamy, we're going to talk a lot about him tonight.
Yes, we are.
Kim's upset she's not on Thursday.
Oh, look at this.
Well, that's because you showed up late.
Well, you should have been there Friday.
Oh, no.
That was Thursday, right?
Oh,
That's
no.
Thursday at the Timmy's.
No.
Oh, Friday. At the Timmy's. Yeah, Friday, yeah.
No, you're right. What's
It
Thursday?
was
was
Thursday.
Thursday.
She didn't come in in time, so
Feel the
Snooze,
wrath
you
of Black
lose.
Bean.
Oh, damn. Andrew's cold-blooded.
Yes, the wrath of
Snooze, you
Black
lose.
all right.
Tom R is on. Good to see you. Martin, Bobby J, Zach, all these guys. We know that. Trooper, didn't you call Trooper?
Trooper called me on video, and I answered it. And,
We video chatted, yeah.
He was home alone, too, so he was pouring one on. It was like he was there, practically.
Look, he even said the same thing. I'm so burned up from last weekend. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Feel you on that one. Chad Anderson. We'll talk a lot about
Does
him
Chad
too.
have a new logo? Whiskey? What is that? I don't know.
Maybe, but he had a pretty big milestone. We'll talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Scotch on the Bayou has some samples going as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was thought of.
Yep.
Good to see you, Pierre. Thanks for stopping by on the pre-show tonight. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yep. Locklinger
Great
was
to see
there.
you here.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian was there.
Look at all these people. We know these
Weird.
people.
George,
Yeah,
Tom.
it's like
yeah.
they're all back. Stephen
Richards.
Richard, hey.
Happy Thursday.
So let's hang on. Here's a couple of other ones.
Roscoe-
Roscoe Peak.
I've seen that one before. That's a good one.
That's great.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of people on
Killing
right
me.
now. I'm trying to catch up.
Well, let's get caught up so we can talk about
Okay.
just what
Everyone?
this was about. You know who wasn't
Oh, that's
there.
true. What happens in Indy stays in Indy.
Well, not
Well-
tonight.
Oh, Molly's. Zach, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Virtual
Haven't had
Gram
one of
Super
those
Chat,
in a
thank you.
long time. Hey, thank you, Zach. So,
Appreciate that. Let me go down there and pull that up and put it on the thing here. What's it say?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to all who showed up, and those who weren't not here. Please know you were missed. Absolutely.
So, I don't know, 3-4 months ago or whatever, we missed our 6-year anniversary. We didn't miss the 6 year. That's the last time we've gotten together. And so Gregor had thrown out the idea, and so we started talking to our patrons in our Discord and said, "You guys want to do this?" And we voted on a location, which they all wanted to make it Indy, which made it easy on us. Then we voted on an available weekend that worked, and we picked one that we could make it. And so that was this past weekend.
It happened to coincide with 3 birthdays.
It did really kind of happen to coincide with a lot of birthdays. We got the Scotch for Dummies, got a room block at the hotel here, and we grabbed a conference room for Friday and Saturday. Some people came in on Wednesday. Some people came in on Thursday. Most people came in on Friday. We had some local folks that were able to make it. We had some people that drove from across the country, and we had some people that flew from
outside the U.S.
Arctica, or like the moon.
It almost took him.
I still don't know where Chad lives. But I mean, people came from all over, and it was an epic weekend. I can't believe how much we squeezed in the amount of time that we had.
Yeah, there were a couple of patrons that did a great job organizing blinds.
Those blinds were epic.
There were people
honestly.
that had great whiskeys just to share. It was really.
So Thursday, for the early comers, people came in on Thursday, and we drove. We took 2 carloads of them up to the north side of Indianapolis to one of our patrons, the Timmy's house, and had a great time. They had some snack food out, some stuff to kind of put in your belly, but Jeff got into his whiskey collection.
We have pictures.
We do have pictures. Let's see.
Are you ready to show them?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's show because I mean they're kind of in chronological order anyway.
Kind of are.
Drew put together a flight. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Okay, so those are the pictures from Old Man Scotch. Those are the bottles that Old Man Scotch sent, even though he knew he wasn't making it. He mailed those 3 bottles to me to put out for the event. So pretty freaking cool.
Wow, those are pretty tasty.
Exactly. There's 3 decent SMWS bottles there. So this is downstairs at Timmy's bar, and yes, he's got quite a collection of Kilholmans and Ardbegs and
these are the bottles he was willing to let us look at.
Right.
Oh,
hey Kim.
Thank you for making this a special weekend for so many levels.
We got a lot to talk
Cheers.
about Kim
Cheers,
too.
cheers.
So you guys
Cheers.
stay tuned. Thank you, Kim. But there was a really good time at the Timmy's house. I mean, everybody really kind of just geeked out on whiskey.
Yep.
And if you don't know Jeff and his wonderful wife Dee, or haven't had the opportunity to visit on one of their whiskey events, they really love doing it, and they're great at doing it. It's a great place to hang out and just geek out on whiskey. So we had a good time.
Look at Mark taking his.
Yeah,
selfie.
I was a driver, so I was a sober, I was a designated driver, so I geeked out on reading and grabbing bottles and learning and getting into stuff, but I actually was able to pour a driver sample of the last bottle that Jeff opened. What was
nice.
It was a 22-year-old Lefroy independent bottler, I believe.
Yeah, so a single malt of Scotland, I think.
It should have been a couple of them. I didn't get one either. I think.
Yeah, I've got
Sean, I think, has one too.
Yeah, I've got a few.
Yep.
A couple of them.
You've got a couple of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this guy
So-
right here. Look at the guy on the floor down there.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm down there looking at the bottom shelf. I just want to see what's hiding in the back, right? Because I mean,
What's back there? What is he hiding? What's
I'm
he
not
hiding back
drinking
there?
any of it. I just want to see what the guy's got because he's got a lot of whiskeys, and it was fun. It was awesome to hang out and just kind of set the tone and the mood for what we were about to get into throughout the weekend.
Not a festival whiskey.
Tons of compass boxes. You can definitely see where Jeff and his wife's palates are. I mean, she's a huge Redbreast fan, so they've got a ton of Redbreast and Irish whiskeys. But you can see
Zach
Zach. Yeah, Zach's pretty excited.
So am I back there in the back. What?
Like, I get that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So good time at the Timmy's house. Actually, we're chowing.
Little
They
pizza?
put some
Little-
pizza.
little,
they brought some pizza in so that
Little
everybody.
soak up stuff. Oh, there's the
And
family.
this is the thumbnail I put together. This is one of the few we had of all of us together, and it's just. This was the first night we got together as a group, and man, you could just feel the love in the air, and just the
energy was building.
The energy
for sure.
was huge for just for all of us tasting all this. And the Timmys, man, I'll tell you what, they did it right. They just opened the doors and said, "Hey, let's have some fun."
Yep, and we did.
And we did.
had some
Absolutely.
fun. So then we got everybody back to the hotel on Thursday night, and geared up for Friday. Which Friday morning, we picked everybody up that was at the hotel, and we drove them downtown Indianapolis. Oh, so there's the pictures of the final pour.
Oh, that is the
Very customary of Jeff. When everyone's getting ready to say goodbye, he says, "Whoa, we got to open up something special."
There you
So
go.
he grabs this 22-year-old Lafroig single malts of Scotland, and everybody's geeking out on it. It was a good time.
Well, and George made the quote of the week. So
Yeah, that's
we're all done. He's pouring those glasses, pouring those for everything. You can see the picture of the previous picture he had. He was peeling the seal on it. So we're opening it up, and George says, it's not bad for a neck pour.
It's pretty good for a neck pour. So I had my sample that night when
Look
I
how
got
dark
home.
that is. It's
when
beautiful.
It
It's beautiful
was
whiskey.
very, very exquisite whiskey. It was very, very enjoyable. I love those older peats.
This is a good picture.
Look what Drew got. He got his new baby, or another baby.
Yeah, he's pretty big
What are you
fan
flipping
of
off
That's
Deanston.
enough of my face.
No, what is it? It was a Deanston 10 PX, which you can't buy anymore.
This is one of the most epic bottles of PX you'll ever have.
It is
honestly.
really-
It's so potent.
Yeah.
And the PX, I know when we first. So let's flash back to guys, KB's. How many years ago was that?
Probably 4,
4 or
5.
5. It was
4 or
before
5.
COVID, so yeah.
I know, and I think him and Bob
18,
pulled
19.
some out, and we're like, "What in the world is this? This is a 10-year-old, and it blew us away."
I think that was a key.
Fabulous.
This is only 10 years old, and the richness of flavor it was weird.
And it's higher ABV too, though.
It
It
is.
is 55 or something like that. Yeah.
I just don't remember ever really tasting PX before, and then this was what really went, "Oh my gosh, there's Pedro. This is what this is supposed to
Right.
taste like."
Yep.
Which we'll get into that on Saturday when we get there. So Friday shows up, and we pick everybody up at the hotel, and we take them downtown. We're going downtown Indianapolis. Oh, there's a birthday gift that I was given. Yeah, I was pretty shocked. That was a unicorn bottle. So we make it downtown to Storied Company, a boutique liquor store, a Scotch and wine, a whiskey and wine store.
right here.
In Indianapolis. We all grabbed sandwiches and took it next door, and the owners, Simon and Dennis, had it opened up with some tables so that we could sit down and eat our sandwiches. And
Yeah, the previous was from Supito, which is a old local deli right next door, or a couple doors down. Yeah.
they were open for business anyway, but it's pretty small liquor store, so they don't get a ton of walk-in. But Dennis shared and poured this for everyone. It was a 25-year-old Springbank from Impex,
Yeah.
and it was just fabulous. I could have spent an hour with that dram.
Yeah, that was just the warm up.
Yeah.
That's the warm up for all the bottles he had on the bar downstairs.
And what's cool about the way they do it is they will pour anything. They have a price sheet for samples and then the price for the bottles. So if there's anything that you're interested in, they will pour a sample of it for you before you commit to buying it. So I know when they first opened up, they just had a limit of 5 samples and there wasn't a price. And I think they probably got to the point where they had to start charging.
Yeah, they were losing money.
Losing money that way. But
You can notice here too. It's 2 stories. Like upstairs is like a little seating area, so you can try samples, you can sit down and converse, and then downstairs you can overlook it here. It's upstairs looking down. That's kind of the main bar area, and then he has you can't see it here, but behind these people standing is a whole rack of just exclusive whiskeys and tequilas and rums and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And so
And wines, yeah,
honestly,
wines,
I don't
of
think
course.
anybody walked out of there without a bottle. This was a
COVID
bottle that
fire.
George ended up buying. This is really interesting stuff, man. This is, it's basically, for all intents and purposes, new make Armagnac,
Yes.
which really has a unique flavor. I did have to laugh. Ken Reddick was able to pick it right out. Somebody's like, here, try the sample. And he took a swift of it, and he's like, he goes, that's a cobra fire. He called it out. He obviously had it before because it's so unique. But we had a good time down at Story Company.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So we come back towards the west side, get everybody to the hotel, at which point I got to run over to my house and help my wife get our house prepared because we're having everyone at our house for what we called a cookout, but it wasn't like a barbecue. It was my wife had just made a bunch of Italian food, and we had everybody that was in town to the house. And so here was a picture of a place setting for someone who didn't make it. Bobby J.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's your T-shirt. I do have your T-shirt. It does look like...
Oh, man, I should have sent it with his samples. Shoot.
It does look like this. But anyway, it was a T-shirt that my wife made for everybody that came to the event.
Bobby J was scheduled to come down, but had things come up.
Bail out at the last second. So
look at this guy.
There's David and his son. They weren't able to stay for the event per se because they were road tripping. Him and his boy were on their way from North Carolina-ish.
Philly, I think.
He's from Philly, to the Badlands. So anyway, we there's the T-shirts, but if you wanted to see what they look like, Bobby.
And those, by the way, D made the best.
D brought some deviled eggs with bacon in them. I mean, come on.
There's shirts with the logo on the side. Yeah.
So we got lucky. We had great weather because there was one table that had to get put out on the deck. Right, there was just too many people. So we had a really good dinner. We had wine and food. I think we actually did pour maybe a dram or two.
But
50th
cake for
that was made with Glenlivet, right?
Was it? Yeah. So the chocolate caramel chocolate on the top of the cake has got some whiskey in it. But that's a birthday cheesecake for Chad Anderson, who turned 50.
Mr. Anderson.
Which was really cool. So that's kind of what spurred this whole thing. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I opened up.
The
Yep. I took Jeff Teamy downstairs in my basement. I said, we got to find something to open for everybody. Come on. And he's like, eeny, meeny. He grabbed that bottle and said, look at that color. I said, well, let's open it and find out. So anyway, everybody had a dram from that. And then,
somebody decided that, so the bunker commander.
Who was taking pictures downstairs?
This is George, I think. So the bunker commander, which obviously we all know is Mark, he has a very nice bunker, and some of the patrons actually got to see it and visit and touch it and maybe steal a few bottles out of there and try them. But so this is part of the bunker that you're going to see.
I will say that most of the people were disappointed that there weren't more open bottles, because if there were open bottles, they would have been emptied.
By design.
So you've got a nice little SMWS section there, and you got a little bit more down the bottom. I can't scroll up very well here.
Yeah, there's
more down there.
I just don't have enough room in one spot. The reason I have that case is my father-in-law, who's passed away, built that for my wife when she was so.
What's this all about there, Mark?
So that's the Bruichladdich Lynx collection. That's
finally finished it up.
Well, it is one bottle short. There's a liter bottle that I need to find, but those are all different Bruichladdich, but they have different golf courses in the cans, and so.
What year was that?
Oh, geez. Those are all different years.
Yeah. Oh, they're different years. Oh, but
they didn't come out all at once. Okay. They did not come out all at once. But then afterwards, everybody decides to just take their dram and walk down the street 5 houses to see the bar. And the patrons took over the channel. So there was a live last weekend. I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if it's out there for consumption.
So they got to see the bar and realize it's not very big. I'm not sure what you guys see, but they got the chance to run it. George decided to be Drew for the day, and he was on command. They're running all the.
Martin was me, yeah.
Yeah, and D, of course, just sits down like, I'll take care of this. No problem. But
that was so
that
funny
was
when
so
I came
cool.
to the basement. Like, what in the heck is going
Unexpected. I mean, I was showing everybody, and then they start sitting down. I'm like,
let's go live. Let's go live. So everybody filed in. And
not one person said no.
That's correct. Nobody said no. Yeah, everybody got up there.
So this is another shot of it. It was such a fun time.
Yeah, I was still down at my house when I get a text message from Drew. It says, hey, Scotch for Dummies is live. Get down here. I'm like, Scotch for Dummies is live? What are you doing? What are you talking about?
What's she doing?
So when we finally finished that all up, we stumbled back to the hotel, and we shuttle everybody back, and now we're at the hotel for the rest of the weekend.
Yep.
This is it.
And everybody's supposed to bring one bottle down to
One
the table.
bottle.
For this night, yes, just for Friday night. Don't bring everything you brought. Just go up, grab one bottle that you want to bring down for the patio, so we can all share and have a dram, And then next thing you know, this is what the table looks like.
Yeah, it wasn't one bottle. It was,
Admittedly, there was a tasting of young whiskeys. So Kim and Martin were kind enough to present us with, hey, these are young whiskeys. Let's see what they taste like.
Right. And that was really cool. It was a good exposure to some of the young, newer distilleries in Scotland and see what they've got going on. Which actually, I think they did what, 5 or 6?
Yeah.
I think 5.
Yeah.
6, I want to say.
I think 6.
Of which 3 were memorable to me. Like, I was like,
The lag was
those
delicious.
are interesting.
That
And
Glen
the
was
top
good.
2 were really good. So that's promising. But we had a good time Friday night. As Tom said, staying up till 2:30 was probably a bad idea to start the weekend
That'd be
off.
a bad idea. You
But-
always start out a little aggressive, and then
Yeah, you got to come in hot,
yeah,
But there's Martin and Kim getting the
pouring
pouring
100
samples.
and some samples,
Yeah,
whatever they
100
did,
some samples. Thank God Kim had those plastic shot glasses sent to my house via Amazon.
I just
and,
think it's-
and Martin brought the little half-ounce pourers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious because we're all like, so let's take a pause for a second and talk about these people. And first of all, if you're a patron, you already know this. There's not a stranger at all. We know each other. Like when we've met each other in person, we already knew each other, right?
Yeah,
but
it wasn't really no different.
But the cool thing about it is not only just a friendship we built and offline, but the fact that the excitement wrapped around the whiskey is so obvious. Like the last 2 days on this trip were great. Friday night, we're finally getting ready to relax. And we couldn't even sit down without a blind happening because they were so excited. Like I was excited to do one, and every time we had something, everybody's like, "Oh, this is going to be epic!" Like it's such a excitable group that we're all sharing at the same time.
Yep.
It was definitely a whirlwind and remarkable thing. But Friday night finally comes to a close. It was late. Oh, there's some rum that Tom brought. He finally got me to try some rum, of which the rum was really good.
Good rum.
It was really good. I'm going to give credit.
So Kim and Martin corrected us. There were 7 that night.
7?
Yeah. 7 different bottles, half-ounce pour each that I wasn't able to do them all. I thought if I was going to taste them all, and then if I liked them, I'd keep going, but yeah.
I did them all. But that's why I missed breakfast the next morning.
Yes. Oh, the eagle has landed. Nice.
So, yeah, we stayed out Friday night really getting into these.
I don't want to play this. You probably can't hear it anyway. Maybe I'll just play a second or two of it. But this was, so at midnight.
Oh, yeah.
We had
Chad do a little speech.
Because it was his birthday. He had just turned 50 years old.
And it was officially Chatter Day.
It was officially Chatter Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool.
Oh, that was a trip.
But also, Chuck had a birthday, and
Everwind.
Yeah,
Everwind's birthday.
Okay, so here's the next morning. So I get up the next morning because I called it early because that's what I do. And then I saw the Timmy's out there in the lobby. I'm like, hey, let's go some breakfast. And then you guys show up about 15 minutes later.
Yeah, apparently you guys had already left. We crossed you on the road or something. We went out for breakfast, this group. So this group was sitting around and eventually said, let's go eat breakfast. So we all got loaded in cars and went. Great breakfast. It's not as good as breakfast tacos, but we did a great job doing what we needed to. Did you have the picture of? Did you pull from Discord the picture of us of the selfie I took? No, probably not.
Probably not.
So we took a selfie trying to send it to the group about what it's like, and this was a much more pleasant version of what we were doing.
Yeah, well, you guys are fake. Like
great time. It was good
I don't think it's on there. No. Oh, no, it's not it.
No, that was after.
That was the black beans.
That was after a question about the black beans, but we'll move on from there.
Yes.
All right, so then Saturday. This is it.
The beginning of the epic adventure of day, if you will.
Yes. So Saturday
This
is
was
a
the first one.
full day of whiskey event.
Three
right?
or four blinds, I think.
3 blinds.
Yeah. What is the first?
Okay, so the first one was comparing the wine with the
Right.
with the finish. So Martin and Kim worked through getting what was it, 6 different? Was it
Five.
Five different wines. So you get Oloroso, you get Port, you get Madeira, you get PX, you get Sauternes, and then you find a whiskey that's finished in each of those. And then the trick was, can you pair up the whiskey with the wine? And that I think the best that anybody did was 3.
I can
those?
tell you this much: it's not as easy as it sounds.
No,
it's a lot harder than you
pretty
think it
damn
is.
hard.
There are a couple ringers in there, which made it a little more tricky, but that was the way he did.
I think she won. Didn't she get the best?
Mary, yeah.
Yeah, Mary won.
Yeah, and the beauty is the next blind following it was all of the same whiskey or the same initial spirit, finished in all those casks. So, Sauternes, an Oloroso, a PX, a Madeira, all those.
Right.
And so that was a cool thing. It was like the test for the original for that initial class. It was
he
great.
didn't say it that way
No, he didn't.
He did not give that detail out because there were too many minds in that room that would have figured out it was Glenmoe. Because how many distilleries out there can say they've done finishes in that many, right?
Well, and it was funny because I was going through them and I'm like, these are starting to taste the same to me. I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing.
But I like what he did by using one distillery. He took that variable out. That's not what we're highlighting. We're trying to highlight the finishes.
The finishes. And Glenmoe was very good about their finishes.
Right.
This is a really good picture of the wine one earlier.
Yes.
Like Oloroso, PX, Madeira, Sauternes, and Port, right?
Yes.
Tawny Port.
I tell you,
Good Tawny Port,
that was
too.
really hard. It was very hard.
Colors mean nothing.
No, they didn't. They didn't mean anything.
No. And I tell you what, that Oloroso wine definitely,
Yuck.
yeah.
That Tawny Port was great. The PX was tasty. The Madeira was even good.
No, the Oloroso, it wasn't my jam as much as I love Oloroso matured whiskey. I was
So
a
this
little
is
shocked.
like the piece de resistance, if you will. This is a table of goodness. Like just...
Yeah, so all these bottles were are up for just sampling. You want to go pour a sample, you're interested, find out whose bottle it is, talk to them about it. If you can't take it, you might be able to pour a 1 ounce sample on a bottle to take it with you to try it another time if that's what you were interested in.
There's all sorts of crazy whiskey there.
That's amazing.
There was a plethora.
At one point, I counted 170 different bottles that were available for tasting and sampling in that restaurant at one time, or that room at one time.
So super stoked about that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Brian brought that and I was able to sample a couple.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I actually have samples. So I asked. So there's a couple of those that I asked for, or I wanted to try. I didn't get them poured before we had to break down the room. But I asked Brian. Brian brought those bottles, and I asked him. So there's a couple of them I wanted to try. I wanted to try like the 9 and the 3. So we went up to his room, and he brought back 1983 for me. The whole.
Oh, that's
lineup.
awesome.
oh, shit.
So those are all sitting in my office, waiting to be explored.
So
It's great.
somebody explain it to me. What are those?
So the SMWS is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. 40 years it's been doing it. So in honor of that, this is one of the collections that they're doing. They have 4 bottles in a set. It's Distillery 1, Distillery 9, Distillery 8, and Distillery 3. So you have a Glenfarclas, you have a Glen Grant, you have a Tamdu, and you have a Bowmore.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
it's
Wow.
One's a 10-year, one's a 17-year, one's a 7-year, one's a 19-year. I think something of that nature. But
Yeah.
so
that's-
obviously they sold out pretty fast. But I almost bought them on SMWS and I didn't, and then I screwed around and ended up winning them on an auction accidentally. So they're en route to my
Excellent.
house.
Well,
I was trying to keep someone honest.
Do you have a sample of each?
I think I do.
If you don't, then we'll open the samples together. So we can go
I
through
don't
it.
know where my samples all got off to. I need to
Well,
look.
Speaking of samples, so this is part of the team.
Second sample.
This is his
That's what
blind.
Teamies did, yeah,
The
that was
Teamies,
the second
and he came prepared like the box full of these. I mean, it was awesome.
Done. But just handed it out. Here you go.
And so I had an idea afterwards. We're I have, or you have, probably 30 of those boxes.
Yeah,
maybe.
something like that.
We're gonna sample some stuff up, and we're going to give them some samples to the. We're going to do a whiskey tasting with our patrons using these samples.
That's a great idea. Yep.
So more pictures.
Drew's directing the traffic over there.
No, I was
going through the
question.
Teamy sampler.
So this is
part of
this
the
is the
blind.
pairing. This is that pairing blind with the wine and the
Right.
and the
So there's the
matching
wine,
whiskey.
the bottle of the wine that goes with the whiskey that is finished in that wine. That's what you see here. Madeira, the Balcones, right? Single malt
Yeah.
Madeira. The
So the PX,
PX
the
Maestro
tomato
and the Tomatin PX, right?
and
So-
that port was so good.
Yeah.
Fucking terrific.
So if you've not done this and you're in the whiskey, it's a really cool experiment to do. If you can figure out how to get all the wines like that.
So it really, I mean, that's the thing that amazes you is it allows you to extract from a whiskey what is contributed by the port and what is contributed by the cask and potentially by the spirit. So it's a really good experience to do to really understand the whole process better.
So George won Teamy's challenge. I was doing well, but I got south.
George got 5 out of 5.
He got 5 out of 5, and I had my last 2 switched. But so he was the winner, and he got some tchotchkes and stuff. This was a bottle that Tom brought, which I think everyone was excited to try because
and nobody would open it, but it was already open.
Nobody has that bottle.
But it was already open, so he's like, all right.
Interestingly enough,
Man.
several of us have editions 2 through 6, but getting one is pretty much out of reach now because let's be realistic, on auction that's
It's
going
$2,000 give or take.
Yeah, let's just say north of
And
1,700.
they only had a few thousand bottles, so it just disappeared and was gone.
So awesome and excited that I had a chance to put that on my palate. But I got to tell you that 1982 18-year-old Macallan that he brought was
unique.
A different bottle. It does not taste like anything of Macallan that I've had before. It doesn't have a signature Macallan profile. And I guess Chad, I learned something that night. Chad said, well, prior to the 90s, before the rules changed, Macallan used to put something in their whiskey. And Chad, you'll have to put it in the chat what it's called. I don't remember what you called it, but the rules were changed by the Scotch Whiskey Association.
Oh,
So that's probably where you're getting your profile change.
makes sense.
But interestingly enough, there's Tom safeguarding his bottles and pouring them out. We had a broken cork. What do you expect? It was
20-year-old whiskey. It was open, or it was bottled in 2000. So what do you expect?
right. That's what happens. And there's Martin.
There's
showing
Martin.
off his bling.
Martin showing out his. So Kim and Martin, they did most of the blinds and most of the tastings for the weekend. They are invaluable for the weekend. I think we learned more by their creative tastings than anything. And the beauty of their tastings was, so a couple years ago when we did the 6th year, we had some brand ambassadors come in and they did some tastings that were very informative, but they were brand specific. These tastings were not. They were flavor specific. They were style specific. They were the kind of thing which
They
made
were
it,
educational.
which
They were
made them
trying to help
really
you.
interesting, really
Yeah.
educational. Yeah.
They were fun.
Oh yeah, Hannah won
did,
the peated.
the peated flight.
Hannah and George both won the
Yep.
peated one. So then they did then the final one of the day was a peated or a smoky flight,
Right.
which I don't think we just glossed over when they're there. 6 whiskeys, all smoky, but you had an
Different-
Isla peat, Highland
yeah.
peat, a Irish peat, a Taiwanese peat. I know there was a mesquite smoked American single malt, and I don't remember what the 6th one was, but you had to put
was really
the
tough.
whiskey with
Right.
the location.
The
And,
Irish one was easy.
Well, the interesting thing about it is
I'm not gonna
all
say anything.
3 of us had the exact same scores. We all
Wow.
picked the same. We all did the same thing, which was really weird.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
Yeah,
weird.
it is weird.
I had 3 of the 5, and we went into the last, and George and Hannah were flipped with Mark and I, and they got it right.
We
So
were
we got 3 of the
so
5.
close.
So Martin and Hannah got 5 out of 5 on those. So yeah.
So here, what we're seeing pictures of is George Kaplan decided to do a scratch off where everybody got a scratch off randomly. You scratch it off, and he was giving away the remainders, whatever's left of the bottles that he brought. So if you didn't win a bottle, you might have got a hug from his traveling partner, who's his brother-in-law, the dude. And so back
what
up.
Drew get?
Drew won a bottle. He won a Deanston 9-year-old.
I ended up with the Bizarbecue, the Ardbeg Bizarbecue.
I thought I saw that.
Nice.
See,
Love it.
I got a hug from the dude. Is there someone else getting a hug from the dude here? These are all winners.
I'm sure one of them got a hug.
There's you and your bottle.
Yep.
I got a hug from the dude. I absolutely loved it. So everybody that did not win a bottle, we all got to get up, and the dude's just ready there giving out hugs.
So this is towards the end of the day, I think, before we decided just to go outside and
we had to break the room down and go out to the party, go out to the
last minute kind of tear down some selfies.
Brian had
What
won
a great group.
that Glen Turret.
You gotta duck that whiskey in.
So, I mean, while all of these events are going on or in between them, people are finding time to look over the bottles on the table and take small pours.
And well, a few cigars were smoked while we were there. A few whiskeys were tasted. Whiskeys, but I didn't even see that bottle.
I know.
That's an Edwardian night bottle.
What?
I have.
Oh, that was the end of the night, right?
So
there.
at the end of the night, we all ended up back out on the patio with more bottles out, and Zach, Andrew, and his cigars knocked Martin out.
He was out.
The cigars
That was
knocked us out.
The cigar did him in, but all in all, it was an absolute
Look at that guy.
Dude,
Look at that guy.
20.
incredible
Crazy man.
weekend. I mean, everybody made it home safe.
We did.
Everybody. I can't say enough about how awesome and what a whirlwind it was. It was so much fun. It is incredible to actually be in person with everyone that we are so used to seeing virtually. To have them in your presence, to have them in your home, to spend time with them. It was surreal. It was
awesome. Epic.
It really was.
It really was. And you know what? It was just so amazing just to see people. Like we've met some of them before. Like I said earlier, you walk up to him, you're like, you just start hugging and talking, like it's no big deal because you know so much about them. On our pre-shows and after shows, we talk to our patrons, and it's a lot about whiskey, but it's also a lot about not whiskey, and you get to know about their families and what we're doing in the community, and that's what's really cool about this. It's really cool just to hang out with everybody and really get to meet them more.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought was also interesting. So yes, there were some people that had buzzes going, but we had hundreds of bottles of whiskey out there, and nobody got to the point where they were puking. Nobody got sick. Nobody got belligerent. I mean, it's just the people that taste whiskey
right
are able to manage themselves. They eat food, they drink water, they slow their roll when they need to. So that's the beauty of this community too. Is while we were safe, we weren't able to drive. We were all at a hotel. We didn't have to drive.
No.
So we locked ourselves in. We were within walking distance of food if we needed it, and we managed ourselves as responsible
Organized by
adults.
design.
And it was really a great experience. I mean, really great.
So I already talked to the next one, but we need
2
to
years?
decompress. Bobby J has already said he's taking on the next one. We'll see. We'll hold him again.
See, what I've thought about though is I need to talk to Dee, because she knows that somebody that does a whiskey bus, and they could do a whiskey bus in Scotland.
Oh, now you're getting crazy.
Oh shit!
You're getting crazy. I like
Might
it.
have to
I like
just
it.
take
I like
it.
it.
That's like a bus full of dummies 2.0.
Yeah, let's try it.
2023.
So
we'll have to see.
I want to get through a quick little rundown of these
let's do
Macallans though. So we've been warming up with the Macallan 12 sherry.
Yeah, it's
just
sherry.
a straight up Macallan 12. We have the Macallan Classic Cut 17, 18, and 19. I'm going to start, guys, and I'm going to pour the 19 first because I want to do the 17 is way higher ABV. I don't want to start with that one. So if we did the 19 is 52.9, the 18 is 51.2. Those are relatively close.
So what's the story about the Classic Cut though?
But the Classic Cut 17 is 58.4.
Ooh.
So all it says is these are hand-picked sherry season casks. It's to be quite honest with you, it's Macallan.
It's a Macallan non-age statement, right?
Yeah, there's no age on this. And the bottles ranged anywhere from, I want to say they started when we first got our first one. It was either 99 or 299.
No, the rare cask is like $199 or something.
That's okay. I'm confused.
The classic cut is more in that 100
Bob
to
H.
150 range. Yeah, we need input, Bob. What's the price range of the classic cuts?
Which one we starting off with? This one?
19. Yes.
I go pour. You want some?
Yes.
You want
Well,
some?
of course.
Why, yes, I do.
All right, there we go.
And so Bob H is saying they're $100.
Okay, there you go. Thank you.
So theoretically, this should be better than their Macallan 12, right? Because their 12 runs for $75, $80 roughly.
Not anymore. Their 12 is 85 plus. But this is also a non-age. So I don't drink it all because I want you to have a little bit in your glass when you get the other ones, though.
You want to go ahead and pour the other one so we can just go ahead and.
Sure. So just keep them in order then.
Yeah. So right, the middle
Right
and
to
left.
left is 19 to 17.
Yeah.
So backwards of what you would logically think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm starting to dig this whole idea you got going on here, Andrew. We got some
There
other
you go.
people there.
I think that is something I need to manage with D and with others. Because
I would love to do that.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to take that itinerary we had for the 2020 trip that got killed because of COVID, and like send it on to make this happen, and we can
And
make
then
it happen.
some.
Yeah. All right. So we're speed dramming again here.
Okay. So what's the goal here? Is just the tasting notes?
This
and
is
see the
this is a
difference?
comparison on what's going. The difference on these. So the obvious differences are the ABV, which the 17 is 58.4. I think there's another difference in color.
It looks a little
The
darker.
17 looks darker.
Mm-hmm.
There's another difference in bottle design, if you will. The 18s and 19s are the same. There was a bottle change between the 17 and the 18. You can
Little
see
bit.
the gold,
Maybe more
black, the shape. This has a shoulder on it. But what's the difference in the whiskey? And Bob, I'm going to ask you. These were all same price point. Let's just assume, right? 99. So Eric Waite's saying he bought the 2022 Classic Cut in Virginia for $1.25. So
these the first two, the 19 and the 18,
19 and 18.
19, 18,
they smell
17.
very much the same.
Yeah, I would agree.
The 17 is different. It has a little bit of Macallan, but more musty or.
So the 19's redder in color if you just hold them up like this. The 18's a little more honey.
All right, I'm going to have to pull these back and do a little work on them. All right.
Oh, I like the 18
The
better
18
than the
is.
19.
I was just gonna say the 18 is starting to open up now and get a little bit more of that sherry love that we're looking for. Wow, the 17 is just a little tight.
Yeah, but I think it's got more potential.
I think you might be right.
It's tight, but you're
Well,
like...
it's also 58, so
Right,
that
right.
helps a lot.
Right, so I'm going to let this air out for a hot second. And while we're letting this air out, how about this? Let's let these sit here for a second, guys, and let's talk about the scotch in the news.
Oh,
About
boy.
what he's poured out. So there's some pretty big news that came out this last week that
Kinda
I
hurts.
actually am shocked about.
Kind of hurts.
It does, and I'm not quite sure if I can wrap my mind around why they make this decision. But the internationally famous, claimed, self-proclaimed oldest independent bottler in the world of Scotch whiskey, Gordon MacPhail, is deciding to stop bottling whiskey and focus on their
So sad.
distilleries. Which I couldn't even tell you the distilleries they own off the top of my head. Do you know?
I start with a B. I remember that. Ben Romack or it was
Ben Riek, something like that. So they own one or two distilleries. But you're talking about someone that has a history of 150 years or more of independent bottling. I mean, let's be realistic. Our first independent bottling was a Mortlock. 15.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, it was a Mortlock because that was one of the first ones. I was like, this is, I think, toast or something at the time. It was my first indication of what Scotch can do, and it was a Gordon MacPhail, and I was like, what is this? And it really intrigued us. And we've had several Gordon MacPhails since then, and it's just they have always done a fabulous job at bottling whiskeys, and so it's frightening to see that they're going, and I'm really nervous that this isn't the beginning of something else going on in the industry.
Well, and what's wild to me is how they're going to consider to do this when, in my mind, the independent bottling market is where the value is for the customer.
Completely.
I mean,
if you know what you're looking for, absolutely.
I always am looking at independent bottlings and always picking them up because usually you can get a better quality whiskey at a lower price point because you're not paying for the brand label. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if now that they've got now that they've got distilleries, they don't need new sources of whiskey for their inventory.
That would be the logical.
That would make sense that they don't want to buy casks anymore, and I respect that they've changed their business model. They don't want to buy casks, but their cask selection is so huge right now. I can't believe that they're not going to continue to bottle those under that Gordon MacPhail name because it's a premium brand of independent bottler, and then just sell off all their casks to whoever wants them. It doesn't.
I don't know that. I have no idea about their business model, what's been successful, what's not. But I mean, you clearly, to what we're thinking, you would think it's successful based on the bottling they've done in the past. Like they've done amazing, and it's more options.
Completely different
right?
casking, different bottles, different.
So what are you doing? Are you pulling back because you want to concentrate on your distilleries and work on that? I'm concerned. Here's my thing, and I'm an idiot. My concern is this a beginning of a shortage of issues of whiskeys that are being not enough to go around anymore, or they're running dry? Are we going to see other independent bottlers having the same problem?
Oh, they're having trouble getting new inventory.
Right.
Oh, I could see that.
That's what my concern is.
Single malts are hot. So why would you sell your cask to somebody they
can't buy them?
Yeah.
Costco is buying so much of it, you can't compete.
Oh, that's a reasonable explanation. But the question is, why wouldn't they just like fade away?
And it could be another issue with just the whole way you get whiskey out of the country. I mean, that's a whole process and expensive.
Yeah, because every country you go to, you have to go through their liquor board to get your independent bottle approved, and that's
what I'm
a pain
saying
in the
though
butt.
To say we're going to focus on our distilleries, that's hogwash, man.
Right.
They're two different things. One's bottling and one's distilling, and really the distilleries are owned by the company. The company's been bottling, independent bottling, for 150 freaking years. You're telling me they haven't got it figured out how to do that? That it takes that much concentration I just don't understand. And maybe there's more to the story that we don't know. Like you're saying, there's a shortage or running dry. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we suffer. This hurts us.
We are suffering for this. My only thought is, just here's the indication for you, right? When we first started getting into Scotch, we didn't know anything about it, right? Before that, we've discovered this, the blends, everything else was amazing, right? And there was a shortage, etc. Since we have started, how many other tubers have come out? That's just an indication of the people that we know have gotten into whiskey. Look at the bourbon craze. I mean, the
right.
Whiskey in general is super hot. So the amount of volume that they have to be selling, I don't know if they can keep up with demand. And that might be an issue with the whole logistical piece of the bottling. I don't know.
Here's my take on it, though. They've been doing it for 150 years. You tell me they haven't run into this before? You tell me they haven't had ups,
not with this technology, not with shipping availability.
Yeah,
and stuff.
In the 80s when brown liquors were dead, and all those distillers were closing in Scotland.
They rode that out.
And they carried through that. But,
different times.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just I'm very curious to see what happens. And you know what? I guess the question is if they are going to sell off their stores as far as their casks. You know, Keep your flipping eyes out
call
for
us
that
first.
shit.
Scotch for dummies.
Scotch for Dummies. Call us Gordon MacPhail. We love you. So back to the whiskeys here.
right,
So
yeah, let's
I've gone through a quick, a very high level quick run through first tape, and I would say they're in order right now as far as potency. Very light Macallan.
The 19 is
starting
light.
starting to get a little more sherry in the 18, and then the 17 is like punch in the face sherry.
The funny thing is, the 19. So as we were sitting here, the 19 all of a sudden got all these sweet brown sugar notes.
The 19?
Yeah. It's
See?
really sweet.
I think Scotch and the Bayou is agreeing with my point. This is not enough whiskey.
Yep, you got it. So that's the question: is does that mean that Gordon MacPhail is no longer going to be buying casks, or does that mean Gordon MacPhail is no longer going to be filling bottles? That's the question.
Well, according to what Tom just put, the rumor is it's going to take them 10 to 15 years
Well, that
to be
makes
able
sense.
to
Totally.
bottle their casks.
Totally, that makes sense.
I think it's just gonna be a
It's
shift.
so-
This
it's a
is why
shame,
this
though.
is another reason why, as a Scotch for Dummies group here, we need to get American single malts more.
You're not going to be able to get.
I don't want to let go of my Scotch.
Oh, I mean, we're not letting go. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Oh, Tom.
So, what do you think on these
Tom and
drams?
Scotch on the Bayou? Thanks for your insight. That's great. Great information.
I'm a fan of the 17.
It's really, I mean, from an age perspective, the younger is actually stronger.
So when did
What do you mean?
17 has a stronger.
Well, it's
potency.
older then. It's right.
Oh, is it?
Well, I mean,
It
they're
says
all.
19.
I mean, they're non-age statements. 2019.
Oh, I was
2018,
thinking- But
2000
But they're not
yes.
older per se. I mean,
Right.
They don't
yeah.
age
So
more.
there's no
I was
age
thinking something
statement on
differently.
them.
Gotcha.
So you're talking me? It's just ABV then.
It is just ABV and differences in flavor profile, which there are slight differences.
There are. And I will say, I'll be honest with you guys, I like Macallan, but I can't drink a lot of it. It's so over the top. Oloroso for me, it's like almost hard to drink. Like I'm more to the point now. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be hard to drink all these. It's so sherry.
It won't be hard.
So the key with these then is you need to add water to them. So I already added a fair amount of water to the 17 to bring its ABV closer to the other ones, because it's not really fair. I mean, you got more whiskey in your whiskey. So how do you compare a 58 versus a 40?
Well, I think the 18 drinks stronger than the 19, and it's less proof.
Well, I guess it's 58 versus 52. It's not like it's.
Well, the 18's 51.2 and the 19's 52.9, so about 2% difference.
No,
but
those
I
aren't
think
different. But what's the other one?
Right,
The
51.
The 17 is 58. You said?
Oh yeah, 58.4.
Yeah. So that okay. So it's really not as much as I thought.
A 5 to 6% difference. I think I like them right there in the order that they are, 17, 18, 19, to be honest with you.
That 17 is trying too hard, I think.
It wants to be sherry.
See, I just put water in it, and it creamied it right out, man. It's just soft creaminess coming through. It says hello.
I'm with Andrew in this one. I think it's trying too hard. It's got the most potency of all three. I think I like the middle the best. It gives me a little bit of the mix of the best of the both worlds.
See,
You guys think
this is why you have three of us here, because I like the 19 the best because it's creaminess, more closely right out of
So
the bottle.
really, you should be over here, and I should be in the middle.
Yeah.
Because you like the 17, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm going to put a little water on the 18 and the 19.
Yeah, I need to add
So
more
this
to it.
is kind of just a fun
Come on.
experiment. I with our last 5 minutes, I will go on record and say that I think had Tom's bottles been here that he had last weekend, the edition 1 tops all three of these
Yes.
without a doubt.
Yes.
But the 18-year-old 1982 bottle,
Blows them away.
Well,
to me that was a freaking wonderful.
It was a very different whiskey, and it's almost not fair comparing them because the edition 1. When did the edition 1 come out? 18 or 19?
No, before that.
Maybe 17. So it's in
Like
this
15
era.
or 14, I thought. Yeah, but yeah.
It's
not
in this
too
era of
far
whiskey.
off.
When you compare a 20-year-old,
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
old Macallan is different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything is different.
This one was very evident. Was like, there's not a Macallan out there that I'm afraid to blind and say, yeah, that's a Macallan. Go on, put a blindfold on me, pour it out, and I'll be like, yeah, that's a Macallan.
You haven't said rubber though yet, like
Because everybody knows it. I don't need to say it. It's there. The sulfur's there, and I don't want people. Here's what I've learned. I say that, and people think that's off-putting and that I don't like it. Never said I don't like Macallan. There's just there's a note in there that is evident to me that says Macallan. I smell it, I taste it, I'm like, bring a Macallan. Boom. It's almost like Ardbeg.
we should play a little game that says, Mark, find the Macallan.
Right.
If you can
that
find that tire.
82-18, not happening.
No, that's different.
That thing would have flew under my radar. I would have got busted on it.
You're right. But all that being said, the cuts are good though. I mean, I do know that we've reviewed a few in the past, and we were pleasantly surprised at what they offered.
Yes.
So,
And the beauty is that it's higher ABV Macallan, which you don't get a lot.
it's true.
So it's nice to understand that.
Well,
And it's young.
here's the thing. The cuts, I think, is where probably the best value is. The 12 right now,
Oof.
the 12 is pretty expensive. Now, it is an aged statement,
Yeah.
and it's solid. You know what it is.
Yep.
But if you want a rare, you're jumping up into the $300 range.
Is it 3 now?
$299, $295, $315, $320. So if
Worthless.
this is way better of a value than rare.
Oh,
I would- the
absolutely.
classic cut.
is it-
Absolutely.
Than rare for
than the
sure.
rare.
I would argue that these are in a par with quality of whiskey because these are younger. They likely put older casks in them to enhance the flavor.
Fat 'em up.
It would make sense to do that. You get a bunch of 3 and 4-year-old whiskey, and then you add a couple barrels of 12 or 15-year-old in there to kind of round out the flavor. That's wise to do. It makes good whiskey. I like the high ABV. I like the fact that there's more potency to them. But admit, Macallan 12 double cask.
Yeah, I know, but why'd they come out with double oak or double cask, whatever they call it?
Who knows?
To add more flavor.
Who knows?
You double cask them, you triple cask them.
And
add more flavor.
to put cheaper whiskey out at a little bit lower of a price point is what they really did. They were running short on Macallan 12 sherry, so they came out with this double thing, dropped the price $10, and then slowly but surely raised it back up to match the sherry.
Yeah, so I'll be interested. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Well, so I'll be interested to see. So when did Macallan make that huge addition to their facility? It was
wasn't
19 or
long ago.
20, something like that. I think it was before COVID.
Yeah, I think it was
when
right
they
before
did this
COVID.
huge
19.
expansion of their facilities. So it's going to be a few years before that whiskey starts to hit the market.
So can you buy the 17 right now? Or how do you?
I don't know. I would say the
Probably
only way
not.
you're going to find the 17s probably on auction or a Dusty in a liquor store. I will tell you this. Number one, I like all three of them. All
Yeah.
right, I'm not dissing on any of them. I really am getting into the 18 and 19. There's differences, and I can't tell you which one I like better. I'll take a nose, and I'll be like, oh, I like that 19. Then I'll go nose, and I'll be like, oh shit, I like that 18. I
agree.
nose, I like it. So
They're different, but they're both good.
Oh, but they're siblings, no
Oh,
doubt
yeah, the
about
same
it, right?
family, yeah.
The 17 definitely steps off to the side because of its ABV point, which changes the whole profile of it.
All right, boys, we are out of time.
We are.
Awesome show. Great Macallans here. I mean, I think we're going to enjoy these on the Patron after show. But, wow, what a recap. I'm kind of sad that it's over. I mean,
Yeah.
I had I already posted in Discord that, the day after, I'm like, I got my blues because I miss all those people.
I know.
It was such a good time.
I know. I agree.
And so here's to not that being the last. Here's to multiple
Amen
more.
to that. I am out.
Cheers.
The next week, I probably can be here the second one in 2 weeks, going on family vacation. So we'll miss everybody. I'll try and tune in from wherever the hell I am.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
But to all of you that made it last weekend, God bless you. Thank you so much for being a part of my life and our lives and making the effort. It was wonderful to see you. If you didn't make it, y'all need to make it the next time because it was awesome.
You saw what it was about.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1.